A very good evening. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. I'm Vidushni Sadis Kumar.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi and here are today's headlines. Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera points out to the President that the people of the country are anticipating a prosperous and disciplined country. IP Nishantha Silva of the CID flees the country. The Premier obtains the blessings of the Chief Prelate of the Ramanja Mahanikaya. The Defence Secretary states the Tri-Forces were convened to further consolidate public security. An all-island environment protection campaign launched under the direction of the police. The military has been deployed to contain the riots in Colombia.
In your local stories this evening, Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera says the people of the country are today in anticipation of a prosperous and disciplined country. The Thera made this comment when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the Rupavahini Mahavihara this evening. The President met with the Chief Prelate of the Kotte Sangha Sabha and Chancellor of the Sri Jayawardenepura University, Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera, and the Sangha Sabha and obtained blessings. The Mahasangha chanted Satpirit to invoke blessings on the President. Chief Prelate of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samagri Dhamma Mahasangha Sabha, Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera observed after the incumbent President assumed duties, the country has remained unchanged and this should be taken as an example by the ministers and parliamentarians. The Thera says they think this is the best way for the country to move forward. Anunayaka of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samagri Dhamma Mahasangha Sabha, Professor Venerable Kottapitiya Rahula Thera said they observed that the people of the north and east, for some reason or another, are entangled in a misconception. The Thera notes this was evident from the election results produced in those districts. He called on the President to change that conception and said the Mahasangha is willing to contribute in that respect. The Thera concluded saying this: the people need to understand that the President is not racial-minded. Thereafter, the President arrived at the historic Bellanville Rajamahavihara and obtained the blessings of the Chief Prelate, Venerable Bellanville Dhammaratana Thera. The President said Shani, who did their inquiries, went to Geneva and acted according to the whims and fancies of NGOs. The President alleged Shani Abhisekara conducts investigations in whichever way he pleases. The President observed Shani Abhisekara is able to upon the influence of NGOs incarcerate war veterans, which included attempts to imprison the commander of the Navy and heads of intelligence units. The President said this is not justice and the rule of law. The President then visited the Papiliana Sunetra Devi Pirivenam. The President met with the Chief Prelate, Venerable Professor Medagoda Abetisa Thera, and obtained blessings.
Meanwhile, IP Nishantha Silva of the CID, who headed a number of controversial investigations, has reportedly migrated overseas without giving notice. It is reported he has migrated without the permission of the police department. Our correspondent at the airport states IP Silva has left the country with his family members at around 12:50 p.m. today in airline number WK65 of Swissair. IP Nishantha Silva has worked under former director of the CID, Shani Abhisekara, over a number of years. IP Nishantha Silva has conducted investigations into a number of controversial cases which include the missing 11 youth, the Lasantha Vikramatunga murder, the Saya Sadevumi case, the murder of the Jaffna student Vidya, the attack on inmates at the Valikada prison and the D.A. Rajapaksha case. IP Nishantha Silva has left the country at a moment at which many allegations have been raised.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce expresses its confidence that newly elected President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will take steps to promote trade and investment relations between Sri Lanka and the U.S. The Chamber hopes the prosperous relations between the two countries will be enhanced. The American Chamber of Commerce issuing a release congratulating the newly elected President of Sri Lanka, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, states they intend to work closely with the new administration. The chamber anticipates that the new president will take steps to promote trade and investment policies beneficial to U.S.-Sri Lanka business endeavors. The USA is Sri Lanka's largest export partner. In 2018, Sri Lanka's export to the U.S. exceeded $3 billion. Meanwhile, High Commissioner of Bangladesh, Riaz Hamidullah, met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The High Commissioner extended his best wishes to the President. The Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, extended his good wishes to his newly appointed Sri Lankan counterpart, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, on Twitter. The Pakistani Foreign Minister expects to work closely with Sri Lanka's new Foreign Minister. The Foreign Minister of Nepal, Pradeep Yawali, also extended his good wishes to Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. In a tweet, the Nepalese Foreign Minister said Nepal intends to enhance relations with Sri Lanka for the common interest of both regional and international levels.
The Sinhala Ravi organization says the former head of the CID, SSP Shania Besekara, is preparing to flee the country. Secretary to the Ravan organization, Venerable Makalkande Sudat Thera, disclosed this speaking at a media briefing held at Kalutara today. Venerable Makalkande Sudat Thera said the latest information they have received is that Shania Besekara has made all preparations to migrate overseas. The Thera specifically calls on the Minister of Defence and the acting IGP to allow no room for Shania Besekara to flee the country. The Thera alleges that SSP Abesekara is connected with a number of crimes in the country. The Thera further alleges that this SSP should be held responsible for imprisoning people in vain and weakening the intelligence units of the country. The Thera calls for a full investigation into the SSP. The Thera says this SSP in question acted according to the whims and fancies of former ministers and MPs such as Mangala Samaravira, Ranjan Ramanayaka and Hirunika Premachandra.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy today and engaged in an early morning milk rice puja. The Premier, upon arriving at the Sri Dalada Maligava, was welcomed by the Devada Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala. After the puja, the Premier engaged in conversation with the devotees. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also met with the Chief Prelate of the Ramanya Nikaya, Venerable Napane Pemasiri Thera, at the Hurayakadua Vidyasagara Pirivena in Manikinna. The bhikkhus chanted Set Pirith to invoke blessings on the new Premier. The prelates, expressing their views, said the Premier and his candidate assumed power at a moment when the country was attempted to be divided through the constitution itself. They noted the Sinhala Buddhist authority prevailed in the island until 1815, but it crumbled during the colonial rule. They said they feel that the country has joined with that era of history. They said as the Sinhala race has joined together, other races will also be protected. The prelates extend the invitation to the other races to cultivate the feeling that everyone is a Sri Lankan. Thereafter, the Premier arrived at the Rajo Pavanaramaya in Gatambe and met with the Chief Prelate, Venerable Kapitiagoda Siri Vimala Thera. He engaged in a cordial discussion with the Thera. The prelates, expressing their views, observe that there are friends as well as foes. They say that is why they call on the present rulers to focus a lot on security. They note now a singular Buddhist environment has taken shape. They also said the previous regime brought the country down to a level where another individual cannot rule. The prelates said the intention is also to build the country. Therefore, they entrust the country to the rulers of the present government. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said the development activities that were underway were stopped. He further stated the President maintains a stern decision that the promises given to the people need to be fulfilled and development works needs to continue.
And the newly appointed Defence Secretary, retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne, emphasizes the President through the Gazette notification extraordinary summon the Tri-Forces to further consolidate public security and not with an intention to carry out any military role. The new Defence Secretary, upon assuming duties, arrived at Mihintale's sacred site and obtained blessings. He also met with the Chief Prelate of Mihintale, Venerable Walavahanguna Veve Dhammaratana Thera. Chief Prelate of Mihintale, Venerable Walavahanguna Veve Dhammaratana Thera said, "This is a country that has the blessings of Buddha and the gods." The Thera noted it is upon the blessings of the god that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his government came to power. The Thera observed after the days of the Sinhala kings, a straightforward leader taking oaths before the statue of King Duttugamunu, who unified the country, is an example to all. The Thera further stated their expectations to transform Sri Lanka into Singapore. However, the Thera noted they don't need a Singapore. All they need is the definition to take shape that Sri Lanka is Dharma Dvipa, and that is the pearl of the Indian Ocean, is the granary of the East. Defence Secretary Major General Kamal Gunaratne said ensuring law and order needs to be done regardless of race and religion, as they have prepared a plan to create an environment in which everyone can live with dignity. He further stated the necessary instructions in this regard have been communicated to the police. He added that this is the democratic country, and if anyone says a military role is to be imposed as the Defence Secretary, he would like to clearly state that there is no such move. In the same way, the Defence Secretary stated the environment will be created for all ethnic groups, religious groups and political parties to be able to live with respect without being subject to hurt and troubles. Major General Kamal Gunaratne further stated in order to curb the drug menace, they will obtain the cooperation of all relevant parties to get rid of the country of the drug trade.
Meanwhile, the Police Environmental Protection Division commenced the island-wide Environment Protection Campaign today. The first program of the campaign commenced at the Independence Square in Colombo today. In addition, environmental campaigns were also launched at Golface Green and opposite the Boatry in Petta. The private sector organizations that are involved in waste management in Colombo are supervised by the Police Environmental Protection Division. Police media spokesman SSP Ruwan Gunasekara also joined in the inauguration of the new campaign.
Newly appointed Minister of Transport Mahinda Amaravira says after newly elected President Gotabaya Rajapaksa assumed duties, law and order is being properly implemented throughout the country. He made these comments joining in a ceremony held in Kadigamu area in Walasmulla. Minister of Transport Mahinda Amaravira said once the incumbent president assumed duties, a notable change took place in the country. People have got used to abiding by the law. He noted in Kathankudi, motorcyclists were riding without helmets. There were a different law there, but now everyone has learned to abide by the law. The minister noted that there was no discipline and no rules and regulations, but after the present president came to power, now the country has become a state where there is discipline and where rules and regulations are followed. He also noted that the environmental police are functioning. He added that the cleaning of the environment is happening voluntarily. The minister advised the population to take the president for an example and also said the cabinet of ministers and public officials also need to cooperate as they intend to put forward the work plan to build the country.
The new crest gem and its gold base, which is to be enshrined on the pinnacle of the Ruwanwali Mahasaya, is placed in a special repository at the Ruwanwali Mahasaya sacred site in Anuradhapura. The crest gem or Chuda Manikya will be placed there for public veneration until 12 noon tomorrow. The crest gem will be enshrined on the gold-plated pinnacle atop the Ruwanwali Mahasaya at 6 p.m. tomorrow. The gold-plated pinnacle will be unveiled on the 26th at 10 a.m. with the blessings of the Chief Prelate of the Malwadu chapter, Most Venerable Tibbotuwave Sri Siddhartha Thera. An almsgiving for the Mahasangha will take place in the afternoon. The National Attorneys at Law Association convened a media briefing in Colombo today. Many opinions were expressed at the media briefing. National Alliance of Lawyers Association Attorney at Law Major Charita Sirivardhana.
The maintenance of the Sinhala Buddhist identity of this nation. By chance, if Sajith Premadasa won the election, what would have happened? This 2,500-year-old Sinhala Buddhist country would have come to an end. The repercussion of that would have been doom for the Sinhala community. When I say the Sinhala community, means the Sinhalese Buddhists as well as the Sinhalese Christians, because both are heirs to the 2,500-year-old glorious Sinhala Buddhist civilization that is inescapable. They too are heirs to that civilization. Therefore, I request the entire Sinhalese community, the Buddhists as well as the Sinhalese, to vote for the SLPP alliance at the forthcoming parliamentary election. Now we can see Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe playing the Sinhala Buddhist card. This is to deceive the people. Ranil Wickramasinghe is a person who has lost his credibility within his own party, amongst the people of this country as well as internationally. In short, Ranil Wickramasinghe is a man of straw. He should not be believed. Do not believe this wolf in sheep's clothing. Now when we observe the pattern of voting of the people of the northern and most parts of the eastern province, we could say it is abhorring who the racists and chauvinists are is exposed to the entire world by this pattern of voting. This is because Mr. Subantiran and his cohorts told these people that a vote for Sajith is a vote against the Sinhalese and misled the innocent people of the northern province. Now this situation has to be soon rectified. This is the greatest obstacle to national unity, harmony and trust and confidence amongst the various communities of this country.
Dr. Sasmit Perra, Member of Parliament India, has raised questions at the Parliament for starting flights to Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand and Singapore to boost tourism, as Odisha shares a strong cultural and Buddhist heritage bonding from Kalinga era. Minister Sri Hardeep Singh Puri responded to his question.
So Odisha has a long historic and cultural ties due to its maritime trade with the Kalingan era, with countries like Indonesia, Thailand and Sri Lanka. Further, there is a strong shared Buddhist heritage and religious connect with these countries. Would the Honourable Minister like to consider starting direct international flights from Bhubaneswar to Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka and Singapore to boost these ties and bring about religious and cultural tourism? Thank you.
Quite happy to respond to this as well, sir. Sir, this gives me an opportunity to once again reiterate that there is an ongoing tremendous growth in the civil aviation sector, both domestically and internationally. But the decision on whether a particular route is to be operationalized is to be taken entirely by the air carrier itself. So if there is demand on a particular sector, then I would recommend that the concerned authority
Well, in your weather news, as the northeast monsoonal conditions are gradually getting established over the island, the Met Department forecasts the prevailing showery conditions to continue in the northern and eastern provinces of the island. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern, southern and over provinces. Showers or thundershowers will occur elsewhere after 2 p.m. tomorrow. Heavy falls above 100 millimeters of rain could be expected at some places in the Trincomalee, Batticaloa, Ampara, Munaragala, Badulla and Polonnaru districts, whilst fairly heavy falls of around 75 millimeters of rain can be expected in the Mullaitivu, Vaunia, Anuradhapura, Ratnapura, Kegalle, Nuwara, Galle, Matara, Kalutara, Gampaha and Colombo districts. Wind speeds could increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour over the central hills, the northern, north central, southern and northwestern provinces and in the Trincomalee district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragama provinces during the morning hours. There may be temporary localized strong winds during thundershowers, and the general public are advised to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity. The founder and president of Canada, a mindful and kind nation, Venerable Dr. Bhante Sarnapala, has been honored with the Canada 150 Medal and Saskatchewan Community Award from the Government of Canada. This is in the recognition of his service rendered to uplift Canadian communities.
Hi everyone.
Reverend Dr. Bhante Sarnapala is the urban Buddhist monk and mindfulness meditation teacher in Canada. He has realized the urgent need to update the services of his temple to the communities in Canada. The third Kindful Canada Symposium 2019 was also held recently in order to making Canada the happiest, healthiest, kindest and the most peaceful nation through mindfulness and meditation. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also has recognized the contribution of Reverend Dr. Bhante Sarnapala through his initiative. On behalf of the government, Honorable Peter Fonseca, Member of Parliament for Mississauga East Cooksville, bestowed the medal and award of Bhante Sarnapala recently.
Hi, I'm Peter Fonseca, Member of Parliament for Mississauga East Cooksville, and I'm here with my good friend, Reverend Bhante Sarnapala. He's the Reverend of the West End Buddhist Temple. And today's a very special day. We are bestowing on Bhante here our 150 pin medal. And this 150 pin medal has been taken from the roofs of Parliament. So Bhante is receiving this as one of the recipients for all the work that he does here in our community of Mississauga East, as well as right across Canada. So Bhante, this medal was made of the rooftops of Parliament. So you will carry Parliament with you, which is a symbol of our democracy, of peace, of freedom, of everything that our country cherishes, the values of Canada. And it's my honor to be able to present this to you, this medal. Canada 150.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you so much, and my gratitude. Yesterday I did talk about gratitude, by the way. So I'm so grateful to you and to this country, Canada, for bestowing me this wonderful medal.
And it's also a certificate and a reminder again of our mosaic, of our what we're trying to build here in Canada. And it's just been a wonderful experiment.
My vision is to make this nation the healthiest, the kindest, the most mindful and peaceful nation in the world.
Attempts to safely capture and treat an injured sea lion which was wandering along the Midigama beach in Waligama have failed. Residents in the area state the creature have been seen along the Nortona beach around the previous day as well. Wildlife officials say sea lions do not regularly wander in the sea area around Sri Lanka. They say wounds were noted on this particular sea lion which had been spotted in the sea area at the 87th kilometer post at Midigama. Attempts made to capture the sea lion with the use of a net had failed, and the animal had escaped back into the sea. They believe the sea lion would have been washed over here after getting caught in a sea current.
Well, residents in around 5 villages in the Dambulla area face a threat of wild elephants, and the residents complain elephants in the wild wandering in the Kahalla and Ranava forest reserves invade these villages in herds. The residents complain these elephants that invade their villages during the night time and in the early hours of the morning cause immense damage to their crops and properties. The residents of Galavela, Pahala Digala, Ihala Digala, Siembala Väva, Makulugas Väva, Damana, Moragolla, Devahuwa and Colony are adversely affected by this threat. These villages observe around 20 wild elephants from the Kahalagala Reserve attack the villagers. They complain although they have brought this matter for the attention of the relevant authorities, no action has been taken.
And with that, we conclude tonight news diverges tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.